Welcome to the 2023 Winter Classic Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. Now, here are your hosts, Dan Olds and Addison Snell.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the 2023 Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition Studio Update Show. Dan, we're back. I'm Addison Snell alongside Dan Olds, and we are back with another year of Student Cluster Competition, Dan.
We are back, and it's good to be back and in the blazer again. Although I had to tie this tie 4 times.
Yeah, it took me a while to remember how to tie a tie, but it's going to be worth it to get on this program. I enjoyed doing this with you last year. We had a lot of fun with the 12 teams from historically Black and Hispanic serving institutions across the United States. And we're back with a new slate of teams for this year's Winter Classic Invitational. Why don't you remind our viewers what this competition's all about, Dan?
Well, really what it's about is replacing ourselves, replacing the next, bringing in the next generation of HPC talent. HPC isn't part of the curriculum at a lot of these schools. And we're hoping, and from what we're seeing, this competition's helping to fill that gap.
Absolutely. And look, we love student cluster competitions around the globe.
Yes, we do.
Love seeing them in the US. We love going to the supercomputing, seeing them there. This is an opportunity to do outreach with the student cluster competition to schools where we're not seeing as much representation on the conference circuit and help promote diversity in our industry. So when we replace you and me, Dan, we're not necessarily replacing them with people who look just like you and me. We're going to help build the whole talent pool for HPC going forward because we need to do it. Tell us about the competition.
Well, sure. And at the end of this competition, our goal, and keep this in mind, all of you folks out there that might be employing or looking to employ some of these students, these are self-motivated, highly talented students that at the end of this competition will be able to run, characterize, and optimize real-world HPC applications, and they'll have done it on 4 different supercomputing architectures. That's a big deal.
This is a little different than an on-site student cluster competition at a show where typically you have sponsoring vendors bringing hardware. All the teams have a little bit different kit. This is a virtual student cluster competition, and it has 2 roles. It has certainly sponsoring organizations who can throw some money in the kitty, help make this happen, help the scholarships happen for the students on the far end of it. We appreciate them, but then we also have mentor organizations where the students will rotate through different hosts who will host all of the teams on common architecture and teach them an application or category in order to optimize. We'll do the scores in those modules.
And it's a level playing field. Mm-hmm. The typical cluster competitions, the students are relying on whatever the vendors can supply. Some teams get 12 GPUs, some teams get 3. This one, this is what do you call that? It's not quite stock car racing, it's factory stock car racing. That everybody's in identically prepared cars.
Everyone's using the same hardware. Everyone has access to the same mentors, the same materials, and the primary goal is to introduce them. And and all the teams together will spend about a week with each of the mentor organizations, going a week on, then take a week off, then a week on again, and we'll take them through the next couple of months.
And you think about that format that we came up with last year. This format we're using again. This gives the students time to really absorb what they're learning and to use it from mentor to mentor to mentor. And I think that's a really big deal.
All right, let's talk about the 2023 HPC Student Cluster Competition mentor organizations. Who are the mentors going to be?
We're one of them. We put together, along with our pals at Penguin Solutions, who were very helpful, put together the annual HPC Pop Quiz, and you'll be hearing about the results of that in an upcoming show very soon.
That's just kind of a primer on the history of HPC, what it's for, some little interesting trivia, whet the students' appetite.
But it does count.
Does count. It's graded. We want them to do it.
Absolutely. And we've got some good questions there. It was a much tougher quiz than last year. Then we have our friends over at HPE handling HPL and HPCG like they did last year. And that's currently underway.
Get the top 500 sort of benchmarks on there, the LINPACK, the conjugate gradient. That's a good first application to really sink their teeth into. Then what's next?
We've got Oak Ridge. And last year they did a machine learning type application that was very interesting, and some of the students really loved it. Others were a little mystified, but it all came through towards the end. There was a lot of support that Oak Ridge gave out on this, and they're running and will be running on a Frontier-like system. Not disclosing the application yet. We'll let you know when we know.
All right, that'll come along. After Oak Ridge, who's up next?
NASA. Last year, they did their beloved NASPAR benchmarks. This year, they're keeping it a little close to the vest like the others.
They don't want anyone sneaking ahead,
No.
up in advance.
Exactly.
Okay? And then we'll wrap it up with
AWS. Last year, their Open Foam Challenge roiled the competition like nothing we've seen before. It was a complete pivot point.
There was a built-in trap door in that. I encourage everybody to go back and look at what was in there. And one team found the secret key that really changed the competition last year. Lots of fun. I will tell you what I loved in this competition last year, Dan, was the time that we spent with the students as they were going through this competition, seeing the different things that resonate. Now, HPC doesn't take hold in every one of these students, but some places it does. NASPAR was a really tough benchmark, but I remember one student talking about really loving it and digging in. And then here was someone else who really liked the machine learning. And then I remember we talked to one woman who didn't love the HPC angle, but was really into the cybersecurity aspects. And you know, if that's what you're taking out of this, we'll find you a job in cybersecurity. Yeah, that's cool too. We need all of that. So it's been really interesting to just watch what takes hold with each of the students.
And actually, I'd like to slip something in. We have not stalked these students after the competitions, but I've tried to keep in touch a little bit. And we have 5 or 6 that are in HPC now.
That's absolutely fantastic. That's the goal. And if that's what we're doing, is just bringing more attention, more diversity, and more young workflow, more young talent into the competition, through the competition into HPC. That's really what we're all about. Now, we mentioned the mentors. We also really appreciate the sponsors. Let's talk about who's sponsoring this year.
Platinum sponsor right up front, going big, not going home, HPE. Also, you would notice we had him as a mentor just now as well.
HPE has been a tremendous sponsor of this competition, and we've gotten a lot of personal attention from executives within HPC, and we thoroughly appreciate the platinum level support for enabling this competition to happen, both as a mentor and as a sponsor. Thank you to HPE. All right, HPE, the platinum sponsor.
Yep.
We also have AWS, both in the mentor column and the sponsor column. Thanks to AMD, Cornelis Networks, Penguin Solutions, all as sponsors. And finally, BioTeam in a special role.
Our HPC SWAT team. If somebody gets pulled off into the ditch, BioTeam comes in and pulls them out. I guess that makes them more like a tow truck.
Yeah, they're kind of a AAA. They're
kind of AAA.
A friend. You know, you get in trouble and you need some help. BioTeam is not mentoring one specific challenge, but they're kind of on call. You need someone to come fly in. BioTeam is at the ready to help provide the resources to all these teams. Big thanks to all of the sponsors. Now, most importantly, we got to meet the teams. We had 12 teams last year, Dan. We got a new 12 this year. Let's talk about who's in the competition.
Well, let's talk about the new teams first.
All right, who's new? We got some new teams.
We got some new blood. It's all good. California State Polytechnic University, known as Cal Poly Pomona.
Cal Poly Pomona is in the competition for the first time. This is a terrific school in Southern California. And you said they have 3 master's students in comp sci on this team.
They do. It's top heavy, small team, but top heavy. This is a bigger school than I thought. This is almost 26,000 students total. Who
Cal
knew?
Poly is overall, you mean?
Yeah, Cal Poly overall.
Yeah, right, exactly. Cal
Yeah.
Poly Pomona is glad to have them represented here.
Absolutely.
Next up,
Jackson State University, hailing from Jackson, Mississippi, established 1877. For those of you that are keeping track at home, nearly 5,000 students. It's a small team with 3 members, and they have a small computer science department. So I really like the ambition.
yeah, Jackson State, this is exactly the kind of school that I want to see us reaching out to. Let's find the smart kids at Jackson State, introduce them to HPC, get them into this competition. Absolutely thrilled. And then our third new team is the University of New Mexico. This is a bigger school again. Yeah, go Lobos. And, let's get the Southwest represented in this space.
Bigger school. They do a lot of work with the national labs, and one of their claims to fame is that our own Jack Dongara got his PhD there. You have heard of him.
Recent Turing Award winner and supercomputing 22 keynote speaker, Jack Dongara.
Proud Lobo.
All right, we might have to get his views on the Lobos competing this year.
Maybe they'll sneak him in as a
sneak coach. Yeah, exactly. All right, so those are the new schools. Yes. Who's coming back?
Well, our friends at California State University Channel Islands coming in with
UCI, Cal State Channel Islands. Two teams this year. They really liked it last year.
They did. The 2 teams have named themselves the High Performance Dolphins after their school mascot, and results not guaranteed.
You could say, but results not guaranteed about a dolphin, I suppose. You never know what you'll get with a dolphin, but
you don't know. Unpredictable.
Yeah, overall though, pretty good. And I like having Cal State Channel Islands in here. They were really enthusiastic last year. Really took to it, and to see them back with 2 teams again this year, that's absolutely heartwarming. I can't wait to see how they do.
Now, we have a few three-peats on the list that have been in all of the Winter Classics. And the first one up is Florida Agricultural Mechanical University, also known as FAMU. I call them FAMU. I think they're FAMU, though. FAMU. And Venom the Rattlesnake is the mascot. They've been around, again, 3 times. This is an entirely new team, though, with a master's student plus 4 undergrads.
Also
they're usually competitive. Yeah.
Also coming back, Morehouse College in Atlanta. We had them in last year.
And who hasn't heard of Morehouse, right?
I've heard of Morehouse, and looking forward to seeing what they're going to do this year.
Yeah, it's a senior heavy team. We'll see what they can do with it.
Okay. Here's one that I love to see on the list. UC Santa Cruz, Fiat Slug. And they're going under the name Not So Slow Slugs.
Exactly. Yes.
You want to see a fast slug? Let's go.
They are a second-time competitor. They were in the very first Winter Classic in 2021. They've also kind of built on that, and they fielded a team at the ISC competition a while back. Young team.
Those not getting the reference, the UC Santa Cruz mascot is the banana slug. Matches our very fancy Blazers. So we want to see how the Slugs do this year. Who's next?
Our pals at Texas Tech University. Biggest school in the competition, 40,000 students, and they're coming in big with 2 teams. And they've same names as the last 2 times, the Matadors and Team Red Raider. It's great. I mean, they're competing for campus bragging rights, and the Red Raiders edged out the Matadors last year. It was pretty close, but Red Raiders were clearly ahead, and I don't believe they let the Matadors forget it. These are all new students, though.
All new students, and Texas continues to represent. We had a lot of teams from Texas last year. Texas is still coming back strong. The next team from Texas is UTEP.
Yep. They're in here for the 3rd time. They were one of the top teams from last year, and senior pack team. And what's interesting, both with the Texas Tech teams and the UTEP teams, is that one of the team competitors, former competitor, is now one of the coaches.
Oh, fantastic. Nice to see that getting passed forward. Mentor.
That's very cool.
Having your star shooting guard take over as head coach later on.
Exactly. So we've gone through 11. There's one left.
There's one left, and it's our returning champion.
It is. And that would be Prairie View A&M from Prairie View, Texas. Close to 10,000 enrollment. They are the returning champion, as we mentioned, and they made it dramatic last year.
They roared back. They were in the middle of the pack. They were doing very respectively, but they were up at the top. They were performing
fifth.
Well, but they were sitting in fifth, and then just absolutely crushed it on the AWS competition.
The Open Foam Challenge did it all.
Moved it into neck and neck, and then won it at the wire.
2-point difference. That moved them from fifth place to 2 points within the leader. And they won it on the interview. It was incredible.
Absolutely unbelievable performance by Prairie View A&M. And then the one other thing I'd like to say about it is that Prairie View A&M then went on to combine their students with a couple of students from Cal State Channel Islands, and we took them to SC22, Dan, for the SC22 student cluster competition. They competed as a merged team under the moniker Team Texacal. Now that I love to see.
That was very cool. They got to see SC and they loved it. And that was very rewarding for us. So there's your 12.
That's 12 teams. They're all lined up, ready to go. They've already done the pop quiz. We're getting them ready to start firing up. How will people follow along?
Well, look for us in HPC Wire for these shows and some articles. Also on social media. We're doing a big social media push this year. And as you'll see on the screen, that's where to find us. And future studio update shows. What are we going to be covering? What aren't we going to be covering? We're going to be doing more of these results shows as the results come in, leaderboard updates, interviews with the teams, meet the mentors, interviews with sponsors, HBC luminaries. It's going to be big, Addison. We got a lot of work ahead of us.
Check us out at Intersect 360. You can pick up the Winter Classic, Invitational Student Cluster Competition, and all the relevant hashtags. You're going to want to follow this one.
Oh, yeah. Buckle in. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
All right, Dan, I'm excited. Let's go. The 2023 Intersect 360 Research Winter Classic Invitational Student Cluster Competition is underway. Let's go.